Welcome to your DIY embroidery kit by Embroidery Enthusiast. If you have any questions at all throughout the video, you can feel free to stop and reach out to me through Instagram or Facebook. Let me start by walking you through what you'll find in this kit. Alright, so first you'll find the hoop with the practice fabric already put into it. This is the fabric that we'll be using to learn the 3 stitches. Second, you'll find this other piece of fabric that has the design drawn on it. This is what we'll be inserting into our hoop once we have mastered the practice stitches. Next, you'll find the thread that you need. The yellow is for the weaved basket. The green is for the multicolored leaves and the stem. I've also included various colors for the practice thread. This is what we can use for our practice hoop. You'll also find a needle. These are from Walmart. The only other thing that's not included in this kit that you will need are a pair of scissors. These are embroidery floss scissors that I just got, but you can easily just use kitchen scissors or anything that you have on hand just to snip the end of the thread. Before we start stitching, let me walk you through how to thread your needle. I do use all 6 strands when I'm stitching, and you'll just put one end through the eye of the needle with patience. All right, now that we have our needle threaded, you can go ahead and pick up the practice hoop and we will learn these 3 stitches. We're going to start by coming up through the back of the hoop. So inserting it in the back and pulling the needle all the way through so that the knot is just up against the back of the hoop. Next, we will go down about a stitch length. So this is very subjective. It depends on how long you want your stitches. Where we're gonna have some turns, it's better to make them on the smaller side. Next, I'm gonna come back up the fabric, but since I don't want to come up the same hole, I'm gonna go a stitch length down my line and come up. All right, and I'm going to go back down in that same hole of my first stitch. And I'm going to keep up that pattern. So I'm going to come up through the back of the fabric, about a stitch length down, pull my needle all the way through, and go back down in that same hole. I don't have very much thread left, so I'm going to tie a little knot on the back. This is what I do when I've run out of thread. I'll just tie a little knot there and I'll trim the thread. All right, so next is the fishbone stitch. This is what we'll be using for our leaves. We're going to start by coming up through the top of the leaf, coming up through the back of the fabric, pulling all the way through. And then we're gonna go back down at the very end of our leaf where it will meet our stem. Next, I'm going to come up on the right side of my middle line, just a smidge down the outside of my leaf. And next, I'm going to cross over my middle line. About halfway down the middle line, I'm going to go back down through the fabric on the left side so my thread crosses over the middle line. And I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. I'm going to come up just a smidge ways down my middle line on the left, coming up, and then crossing over onto the right side of my middle line and pulling through. And as we do this, we're going to come back on the right side a little ways down the outline of the leaf, and then a little ways down the middle line, crossing over, and again coming up on the left, a little ways down the outline, crossing over a little ways down the middle. All right, next is the weaving stitch. So I'm going to come up on the left top corner of my box, and I always try to go a little outside that pencil line just to make sure we cover it. Then I'm going to go down to the left bottom corner. Next, I'm going to come back up on the bottom, but just a little ways down my line. And I'm going to make a parallel line going back through the fabric at the top. So don't worry about getting right along the edges, because remember, we're going to do a back stitch around the basket to make it look nice and clean. So to start, we are going to come up on the left side of our stitch. All right, so I'm going to be weaving, as per the name, under, over, under, over, under, and over. And I'm going to pull it through. And if it doesn't go right down to the top of your stitch, you can move it with your needle. So you can see that last stitch is kind of all alone. I just went over top of it. So to go back around, I'm going to go underneath it. All right, so you don't want to pull too tight. If you pull it too tight, we're gonna mess up our original stitches. So I'm just gonna, again, bring it down with my needle. And I'm gonna do the same thing. This time, since I went under that last stitch, I'm gonna go over it. If you want to keep going, you can go all the way till the end, and that's all of the stitches that you need to know for this hoop. So we are ready to move on to our design.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel the glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Yeah, you're lovely, with that smile so warm, and those cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you just the way you look tonight. With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Lovely, please don't ever change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Yeah, you're lovely. Please don't ever change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange this? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. You're lovely. Don't you dare ever change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange this? 'Cause I love you just the way